Welcome to Heel and Toe, and today we're at the Porsche Experience Centre and I'm here to drive the Spyder. Hi guys, I thought I'd give some feedback from the Porsche Experience Centre. Now, unfortunately, I was not allowed to film the day. Porsche don't let you actually film the experience itself, so I wasn't able to actually sit in the car with the cameras and show what we got up to. But I thought I'd give some sort of feedback for people who haven't done it before. Um, to give you an idea of what it's like. I don't claim to be a professional driver or a racing driver. I'm just like, just an ordinary guy who's gone onto a Porsche Experience Day, and I'll give you some feedback from a layman's perspective as to what I experienced, the benefits I found of it, and that kind of thing. So I'll just go through some of the points and discuss them in finer detail. So I took the Spyder out on the Porsche Experience Day, and the first thing they took us on was like a little track that they developed. So at Silverstone, Porsche have got part of their Silverstone facility, and they've got their own centre there where they've got a little track and where there's wet handling circuits and other driving experience stuff put together. So they took us initially on a small truck they've developed there, and that was a lot of fun actually, because the driving instructor was assessing my seating position, where I was looking while I was driving, how I was braking, hand positioning, posture, how hard I was holding the steering input, accelerating, braking before the turning, looking at the apex. So there were all these kind of things they were looking out for and judging you, and as well, assessing you, and also correcting you as you was driving around. So I found that really helpful. And one of the main things from my perspective was the fact that when you're driving on track, you should be looking quite far ahead. So if you're coming up to a corner, you're looking not just straight in front of you, but you're actually looking a bit further as to where the apex is and where the exit is if you can. So you use the whole screen, as well as sometimes you could use the side, out through the side of the window to see where you're going. I mean, talking about it, it does sound it sounds common sense and straightforward, but when you're actually driving and you've got that slight pressure of being on track, people tend to sometimes just look straight ahead and don't focus anywhere else. So I suppose they're basic driver, you could call it basic track training, but I learned a lot from it, and I felt, as the time went on, I got slightly better, so I was braking at the right places. My vision was improving, so as I was coming to corners, I was looking out before, and also the other thing that was pointed out was to try and drive smoothly. I think when I was driving, I was quite jittery, and I was having too much steering input. So they look at all these kind of things like steering input, braking, applying the accelerator, vision, posture, all these kind of things, and then they assess you as you're driving. So that part of it I thought was very good. I mean, you could probably get that kind of experience on a track with a professional instructor, but this environment was quite good because it wasn't actually racing. You haven't got that pressure, and it's quite relaxed, so you can actually take your time and improve by going through slowly. So I found that bit quite good. On the Porsche Experience, they also gave you some wet weather handling experience. One of the exercises was driving the car into a very wet plane, and the underneath of the track would move. So as you were driving onto this plane, suddenly the part of the track would move to the left or to the right, which would cause violent oversteer. So that part was actually quite a lot of fun because it was trying to simulate a situation where you'd lose control and the car would go spinning. So it was wet, it threw you off into oversteer, and you had to counter that situation by steering as quickly as you could in the opposite direction, whilst keeping your foot on the accelerator. So it was kind of like balancing the oversteer with throttle and opposite, turning the steering in the opposite direction. So it was quite tricky to muster, but after a few attempts, I managed to catch the oversteer as I was being pushed into oversteer, and basically correct the spin and catch it on the throttle, so you're not actually going into oversteer, where you're balancing it. It's quite hard to explain, but it was a lot of fun. Right, so another exercise we did was to go in a circular motion basically it was like a large roundabout with a large circular marking on it, and we had to drive. I was trying to drive the Spyder as fast as I could within the white circle, so it was progressively getting faster and faster and faster until the Spyder was basically understeering out of the circle, and then they told us to lift off slightly from the accelerator so we could cause a little bit of oversteer to bring the car back in. I think it was trying to teach you about lift off oversteer. But one thing I did find with the Spyder was how neutral it is and how well balanced it is. And I was quite surprised actually to see how fast you could actually go in a circle before it actually really did understeer and come out of the circle. So that was quite impressive. I did get a little bit dizzy because we went through it quite a few times, progressively getting faster and faster. But it was quite a good exercise in, well, knowing how balanced the car is, how well set up it is actually, being mid-engined, and how fast you can actually go in a circle before it breaks out into understeer out of the circle. So that bit was quite fun.